Do you ever feel caught in a mad dash to create fresh content, struggling to come up with ideas? Did you know that repurposing old content is actually an easier way to create content? What is your system for repurposing old content? Do you use it to its full potential? For the longest time, so many people I've spoke to thought that they couldn't reuse their existing material. However, you can save time while producing quality content by understanding what repurposing means and applying effective strategies to making the most out of your previous work. We're going to expand upon episode 12's topic of repurposing free content today. What exactly is content repurposing and how to create a system to reusing your content? So, what exactly is content repurposing? It's simply using the content you've already created in a new way. This is great for online business owners to maximize their content marketing efforts without starting from scratch every single time. Content repurposing is taking existing core content, such as your blog posts, videos, and podcasts, and using it on a different platform. By utilizing content repurposing, you can save time and show up on different platforms that your ideal client is hanging out on. Content repurposing has many benefits that make it essential for an online business owner to utilize to avoid content burnout. So I hope this isn't you, friend. We want to avoid that content burnout. So for starters, it's going to allow you to get more mileage from your original piece of core content by reaching new audiences who may not have seen that original content. Because as a busy mom, more than likely, you're not coming out to my website to read my blog posts. Oh no, you're probably listening to this podcast right now. While it may sound complex and time consuming, it is not. It is either turning your blog post into a podcast or a YouTube video, or the opposite, a podcast or YouTube into a blog post. And you want to make sure that you're able to utilize or maximize that search engine optimization. In addition, that content can be transformed into your social media copy to get even more use and reach more people. So what are the strategies for repurposing old content? By leveraging existing material, you can produce new content that resonates with your audience without starting from scratch. And I don't know about you, friend, but sometimes staring at a blank cursor is the worst. Repurposing your existing material is a great way to generate new, appealing content for your audience while you're still conserving time and effort. So here are some strategies that you can implement today to repurpose that old content. We're going to update and refresh that existing content. This strategy involves an existing piece of core content and updating it with new information or insights. You can add relevant images, videos, links, quotes, or other elements to make the piece more engaging. Furthermore, you can revise your content to align with your current business and audience. As you evolve and grow as an online business owner, so do your offers. For example, if you wrote a blog post about SEO best practices 2 years ago, but now new trends are emerging in the industry, like they always do, you can refresh that post by adding those changes into it. You're going to create new formats from your old content. I briefly touched on this before. Instead of simply refreshing an existing piece of content, why not turn it into something entirely different? This could involve turning a blog post into a podcast or a YouTube video, which is my personal favorite. By doing this, you expand your reach to a different audience who may prefer consuming their information differently than others do. Repurposing old content can be a great way to breathe new life into your existing material and increase its reach. How to create a system to reuse your content. Content recycling is an excellent way to gain additional value from your current material and reach a new audience. So, here are the action steps to take a blog post and repurpose it into a podcast. Doing this, it allows that one piece of content to reach a broader audience. So, Google does like it when you refresh the content on your website. Plus, it allows you to take old content that may not be relevant to your current business model and refresh it so that it's not confusing to your audience. Over my 7 years in business, I've gone from offering general virtual assistant services to website services to being an online business manager, and now I'm just really specifically focused on helping business owners and their organic content creation. I have a lot of old content that I can go back and rewrite, republish, and reuse for a podcast. In your project management software of choice, we will create a repurposing system that can be used repeatedly. BT dubs, if you're struggling to stick with a project management software, you may not be using the right tool. If this is you, I encourage you to book a 30-minute mini session where we will find the exact right project management tool for you, and I'll throw in a couple templates to get you started. So what are the steps for your repurposing system? So grab that pen and notebook now. 1, you want to identify the list of blog posts to rewrite, republish, and podcast. So do this in batch work. Well, you don't have to, but I encourage you to do this in a batch work. Go through your website and look at all the old posts. I always start from first to the present. So go back to the very first blog post you've ever written and take that old content, and then we're going to put links into our project management tool as future posts to rewrite, republish, and podcast. And based on your blog post, I want you to create an outline for the podcast script, refreshing the content to your current audience, and that it's also in alignment with your paid offer. You're going to record your podcast, edit your podcast, finalize the podcast, and have it transcribed. Now, this moves us into editing the transcription to be used as the written and republished blog post. I guess the process is actually podcast, rewrite, and republish now that I'm thinking about my true process. And we're going to publish and add that podcast to your website with that refreshed blog post and, of course, new images. I consider this my 2 birds with 1 stone method. I'm making my content relevant again and sharing it to a different platform as well. And don't worry, if you prefer to be a YouTuber, you can use this same process for video as well. So the best practices for effective repurposing of old content: when you're repurposing your old content, quality should always be prioritized over quantity. Content repurposing aims to create something new and fresh from existing material. You're not just trying to churn out the same thing in a different format. It's essential to align content to your current business offers. You don't want to leave people confused, because a confused mind never purchases. When you're repurposing old content, it's a great way to maximize your effort and save you time. Repurposing provides a chance to craft something new from outdated content without initiating the process from scratch every single time. Figure out what core content can be recycled so that you can make sure your old posts don't go to waste, but rather get changed into something completely different to reach a new audience. Take control of your content creation with simple workflows that help repurpose old content. Start now, friend, and avoid your content burnout. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful week.